right sitting there?
Mm-hmm. I am.
It's
comfortable. I'm good. I just moved everything. This mic's the right distance, I think.
Alright. Put the headset back on and testing.
Testing.
I just want to pull that across the desk so you don't rip it off. Alrighty, well, let's see. Yeah, that's me. Alright. You ready?
Yep.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, action. Alright, what's up, guys? Episode number 2 coming at you, trying to stay consistent. Like I said from the get-go, I'm going to release 1 episode a week. So, sticking to my word and try to stay consistent and do that. So, anyway, second episode, I've got a guest. So we all know the show's name is Armed and Dadly. So who better to have as my first guest than my own dad? I'm excited. I'm excited about this episode. I've been very excited about this whole podcast, honestly. I've got a lot of good reviews from the first episode, so if you haven't listened to the first episode, go on and jump on that thing and take a peek at it before you listen to this. So my dad is like, he's pretty much an example of the types of men, guests that I will have on this podcast anyway. And just, I'm fortunate that he's my dad. So hopefully we'll have some laughs on here. We might shed a few tears. There'll be lots of valuable information. So anyway, so I'll introduce him myself. My dad, Butch Portwood, aka Dad. Like I say, he's the type of guest that I'm gonna have on here. The humble, kind, strong, confident man. Just a man's man. I sometimes joke, and I know that anytime I go places, I'll walk in the room and it's not, "Hey, what's up, Eric? How you doing, man?" It's, "Hey, Eric, how's your dad?" If that gives you any indication of the type of man my dad is, they're quickly to ask how he's doing before how am I doing? Well respected, well liked everywhere he goes. He's been married to my mom. How long have y'all been married?
41 years.
41 years. He's an Army vet. He's retired from the Richmond Fire Department here in Richmond, Virginia. 40 years he did in the Richmond Fire Department. It's unheard of these days. You're not going to see people do 40 years in the fire department anymore. Shoot, I did 16 and I'd had enough. So he's a strong Christian, man of faith, kayaker, weightlifter, outdoorsman, camper, marksman, ultimate man of mystery. Goes on solo camping trips all the time, all by himself, and he says he prefers it that way, unless I go with him. So anyway, do you want to introduce yourself at all? So,
How can I follow that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. You could say.
I don't even think I meet that.
Well, see, like I say, you're humble. There you go. So if you want to say anything, now's your time. If you want to introduce yourself, just say hi. Okay. All right. Well, so the way this interview, it's gonna be pretty much like a timeline based thing. We'll start with my dad's childhood and go on from that. So that'll be. So what was your childhood like, Dad?
Well, it was pretty good. It was a good childhood. Mom and Dad were very young. My dad was 19 and my mom was 14 when they got married. So, and then she was 16 when she had me. She had a 5th grade education and my father only had an 8th grade education. And they probably did, I think they did really well.
Yeah, yeah. I have fond memories of both of them, for sure. I guess you could tell they're neither one with us anymore.
No, they both passed away. My mom did recently, well, 2 years ago, May 23rd of 2019. That was pretty hard because she had dementia, suffered with that, COPD and stroke. She had numerous strokes. So to see her go down and not be the woman she used to be.
She was tough to the very, very end. We all were fortunate enough to be by her side when she did go. So
I believe she went to heaven.
Yeah,
No doubt.
So what were some of your fondest memories of childhood?
Just like my time now, my fondest memories were when I was growing up and I got to, we had some land and there was big farms around us and all the big farms had lots of wooded areas and stuff. My mom, she said, "I'm cleaning the house today, get out of my hair." So
yeah,
she'd give me some food and she wouldn't see me till dark. I'd be in the woods somewhere by myself. Because a lot of the guys that lived around, nobody lived very close. So
yeah.
it was enjoyable. I enjoyed being in the woods.
Did you have any not so fond memories of growing up? Anything you change or that maybe molded who you may be today?
I think my parents went through a rough patch. All marriages do. Where my father had an affair. That was hard. But he got himself straight, got back on track. And he was a better man for it.
Yeah, that's one thing that we hope to, on this podcast, we hope to portray to people is, we all make mistakes and, but a lot of those things we hope to grow from, more so. They don't have to define you. They don't have to ruin your life. They can truly change your life for the better if you allow it. But it can also ruin your life if you allow it. So I think, like you say, he was a better man for it. So
oh yeah, he was. He was a better man for it. He became a better husband. I'd say a better father as well.
Yeah.
Although he wasn't very quiet.
Yeah, so that kind of rolls into the next question of what type of father was your dad? My grandfather.
He was a very strong man, very capable person. And like I said earlier, he was only went to the 8th grade, but he was a machinist, he was a mechanic, he was a carpenter. He could fix anything. He could fix things, he could make things. he being a machinist, he would make things.
Yeah.
I remember one time helping him working on someone's car. He warned me not to wring that bolt off in that transmission. As I rang it off,
Yeah.
I slid out from underneath the car and took off out the garage. He said, "Come on back. You didn't do it on purpose, you know. Just come on back. We can fix that." That was late on a Saturday, I believe. And I said, "Well, Dad, how you gonna fix it?" He said, "Well, I'm gonna drill that thing and get that bolt out, and I'm gonna make another one if I can't find one." Well, he couldn't find one, and he made one.
Yeah. I think I remember the tool. I remember him making screws, and he had a metal lathe and everything in the garage. I remember that. So as a child, after getting through your childhood, and we talked about in the intro, you were a firefighter for 40 years. Did you always know that you wanted to be a fireman growing up?
Not until my dad started he actually mortgaged his home to build a fire station.
Yeah, station number 3, Hanover County.
Yeah.
It was the I was at that station for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I started volunteering at 15 and a half. And I think I had just got my learner's permit. I was driving the fire trucks with my learner's permit.
Mm-hmm.
You know that would never happen now.
No.
Driving these big fire trucks around learner's permit. But growing up, in the country with farmers, I drove trucks all the time anyway. So when after I got my regular license, I remember showing up at the fire station. A house fire came in, and Gene Eves, Captain Eves, he was a awesome man. He was in the Richmond Fire Department. He said, "All right, boy, jump on this fire truck. You're driving. We're going to this house fire, just the two of us." And we went on to the house fire, and we got there first, nobody else there. Set it up, went in, put the fire out, and came out. I mean, it was 16. I was hooked.
Yeah. So then you did a little time in the Army. That's right. What was your job in the Army?
I started off as a wheel mechanic, which was not what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a firefighter in the Army, and when they tested me, they said, "Your aptitude is a mechanic." I said, "Well, figure that." Doing it from the time you're a little kid, helping your dad, you learn a lot of stuff. So,
yeah.
So that was what they ended up telling me I was going to be. And then I ended up going in armor. And I was in armor for a while.
Yeah. Let's get into where I hear we always make jokes of where you met my mom. We always say you met her on the street corner on the park bench, and what was is that the truth, or where did you meet Mom?
Well, it wasn't on the corner, but it was on a park bench. And I was in the firehouse lifting weights when I was younger and bigger and stronger, and she came down to the station with her girlfriend to visit my friend. And he goes out to talk to him. He's out there talking to him. He said, he came in to get me. He said, "Come out here and talk to this girl, pretty girl."
So you peeked out the window and saw who it was. Did a couple more push-ups to get a little.
Got a little more pump. Yeah, got a little pump on. No. Well, I went out there. She was a very attractive woman. I thought she was older. But when I went out there, she said, "Why do you keep moving around?" like I said, I'd been lifting weights, and I didn't smell real good.
No.
So I was trying to stay downwind from her, you know. So she said, "Look, you look like a nice guy. Would you like to go out?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'd like to go out with you." She said, "But there's one thing you have to do. You have to spell my last name." I said, "Well, what's last name? Jones?"
You can't spell that.
Not on a good day. and she said, "No, Kushki."
All right, good,
So-
good meeting you.
I didn't even say that. I just turned around and started walking back in. And she said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, I can't spell." "What do you mean you can't spell? It spells just like it sounds." I said, "Well, I don't hear it. You know, it's nice meeting you. I'll go on in." Yeah, that's about what happened. She stopped me. She said, "Well, let me give you a hint. It starts with a K." I said, "A K? It doesn't start with a C?"
See, I already failed.
Anyway, she spelled it for me, and then she still went out with me.
Well, she felt sorry for you.
That's what it was.
That's all right. So I guess some extra push-ups must have worked before we walked outside.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
So that was a start. And you've been, what did you say, 41 years? Been married
41, yeah.
41 years.
This past April.
So that goes into it's a common topic I'm noticing is I'm noticing a lot of my friends and everybody, a lot of people are so quick to get divorced these days. It seems like you've been married for 41 years. I'm sure it's not been all sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns though that whole 41 years. So what do you think? What do you think the reason is? What do you think the trick is?
God. Yeah, put God first. And then she always says we never fell out of love at the same time.
That's yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Either one of us was always trying to keep it together.
Yeah. I guess I think I'd like to elaborate. I think that's what we're seeing a lot is people. Some people, not all people. I don't want to speak for everybody. I've not been in everybody's shoes, but I feel like people stop trying. I think maybe trying is the harder of the routes. I think it's easier just to walk away for people sometimes, but when they walk away, the same person they were, the same problems they were having, they're just going to move them to the next person.
I know we separated, and it was much harder being separated than it was to face each other, sit down, and discuss our problem. Because when you separated, you solve nothing.
Yeah.
Solve
Communication, transparency, honesty.
nothing. Yeah.
Gotcha. So there then, however many, whatever the time frame was, and here comes here comes little old me prancing on into the picture. What was it like for you becoming a dad, becoming a father?
Scary. I said, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Because it's a tremendous responsibility that once you have a child, that's your life.
Yeah.
You are responsible for another human being. And I had to change some of my ways. I would work a lot, not be home. I changed those ways. I had to be home for my little Eric.
Yeah. I think I remember, if the story serves me right, you say you were working in the fire department and then doing roofing on the side, and then
Framing houses.
one day you came home and I didn't really recognize you. Was that
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah, 'cause I'd work 24 hours, then work 12 hours on my day off, and by the time I got home, halftime you were asleep.
Yeah.
So I'd see you on the weekend, and that's what we were doing so your mom could stay at home to take care of you rather than have to work. So I worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs. But when that happened, I said, nope. If he's home, I'm gonna be home. If I'm not at the firehouse.
Yeah.
My part-time will be part-time.
Right.
And I kinda went and worked for, instead of working for someone else, I started working for myself. And that worked out a lot better.
Yeah.
Because I could arrange my schedule the way I wanted.
Yeah, that's what's beneficial of what I've done here recently. It's all about family being present, for sure. So what were your goals as a father? How did you want to show up as a father?
I wanted to be a strong, quiet father who only interceded when I really needed to, but guide you from behind.
Yeah, it says it. It says it all. That you did a damn good job at it. Because if it weren't for those values and that example that you set, you didn't tell me what to do. You showed me what to do, and which has, it's brought it to this very moment in time.
Yeah.
Us sitting, having this opportunity to sit together. What a great opportunity this is.
Makes me very proud.
We get to sit here and record this and video it. It'll be on YouTube. And, Landon and whoever else can look back at it forever. It'll always be there. So,
Thank goodness everything I did won't be on there forever.
well, well, that goes
I made my share of mistakes.
It goes back to making mistakes. That's why we're the people we are. What was the hardest part about being my dad? Was I a difficult kid, or?
No, you were a very good kid. We did a lot of stuff together, and I think, well, I know I got a lot of enjoyment out of being outdoors with you.
Yeah.
I remember the first time taking canoeing. The water was cold, and it was pretty miserable. And we spent the night out in a tent. I let your mother talk me into only taking a blanket. That was a mistake, because you ended up with the blanket, and I ended up sleeping on the ground with nothing.
Yeah.
But it was time to, the next day we got up, we ate, we paddled back down river, and we got to where we were gonna get to go back to the car and load the canoe and go home, and you said, still raining. We don't have to go home yet, do we?
Yeah. Yeah. Landon does that to me now. Oh man, yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah.
It's cold and rainy out here.
Yeah.
Now I remember that trip vividly. We went on down to the side of the river and set up a tarp and had lunch, and
Sure did.
yeah, those are the memories we made together growing up. Just like I say, those are the example you set has been the same things I'm trying to do with Landon, the same things trying to do with the podcast. And a friend in the gym this morning said he liked my first episode because I called them father figures. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of kids out there that don't have dads to spend time with, and just because you're not their dad, or you can be an influence in these kids' lives and be
Absolutely.
literally change their outlook on a lot of things if you just show them, set the example, be a positive role model in their lives. And that, it's another part of the movement for this podcast and Armed and Dadly is hopefully pushing that mindset to be a father figure for everybody. So, is there anything you wish you would have done differently as a father?
Yeah, I wish I had taken you to church more. Spoke with you more about Jesus and God. Men that do that with their sons, daughters, help them to have less problems in life. The ones that can talk with them and let them know that you're going to have problems, but you always have somebody to fall back on. That's God.
Yeah, gotta trust the path. He's got a path for us all. It's, sitting here again, sitting in this moment, it makes it really kind of seems surreal to be able to put this stuff out, and it's definitely God's will.
I mean, I'd have never been a firefighter if it hadn't been for God. And the reason I say that, I was 18 years old and being a little bit wild and adventurous. I was racing an old 53 Plymouth car down through our woods, and when I say down through the woods, I mean down a small path through the woods. And I couldn't make the next turn, so I decided to cut through the corner. So when I cut through the corner, I hit a tree, stump. Couldn't see the stump in the bushes. Cut the end of my nose off, broke off teeth, fractured my skull, messed me up. Had to walk a half mile back to the house. Neighbor girl found me. Nearly bled to death. Little did I know that actually that would save me getting my job in the fire department. And the way that saved me getting my job was that I went to apply. The chief knew your great grandfather, and he asked me if I was half the man he was. Told him no. So he said I was hired, but I had to go take a physical. So I went to take the physical. You had to fill out this form. You ever had a brain injury? And I had to say that I had a fractured skull. And the nurse said, well, we can't hire you. I was devastated. That's all I wanted to do. So I went home and I brooded around. A couple of weeks went by, 3 weeks went by. My father called me. Coming to work for me. Get your butt down here. Yes, sir. So I started working with him. Well, then Captain Eves, he was a lieutenant then, he got in touch with this neurosurgeon, and I went for a visit with his neurosurgeon. The surgeon wrote a letter, took the letter to the nurse and to get a re-evaluation. Mm-hmm. And she said, okay, let's do your eye test. I failed the eye test. she looked at me and she said, "You know what? You passed this eye test." I said, "Oh, I did?" She said, "Yes, you did." That was God.
Yeah.
Little did I know I'd be on a hazmat team, the dive team. I loved it. And we were able to help a lot of people.
So let's get into let's get into that. What? Talk about your career. Like I said in the intro, 40 years in the Richmond Fire Department.
Yeah.
You just started named off a couple of assignments. What were some of your favorite assignments?
Engine 13, number 6 and number 1. They were my favorites. 13, there was 3 companies in one house. The ladder company, the tactical squad, and the hazmat team. I went down to be on the hazmat team from 17, which 17 is another story because that was a bunch of old men and I was a young guy and I just couldn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to sit around all day and I wanted to train. I wanted to do well.
Yeah.
So that wasn't working for me. So I finally got away from it. But 13 was awesome. That was awesome. I was there for 13 for 9 years, I think it was. And then I inadvertently got sent to the. I got put on a dive team at the same time I was on the hazmat team. Then the 2 captains here, they're arguing back and forth about who I'm going to train with for the day. So I said, well, this isn't working really good, but I'm going to keep on doing both. And then one day the guys came to me and we had a gentleman that came in late every day, never never did what he was supposed to do. So they designated me the guy to go talk to him. So I did. It wasn't good until he took his finger and poked me in the chest. And it went downhill from there. So we were both going to be transferred because we're not supposed to fight. And so I'm sitting on the watch desk. And the watch desk was separate in that station. So nobody could hear who you were talking to. And the chief of the fire department called me while I was on the watch desk. And he called me on the private line. So obviously he wanted to speak to me. I answered the phone the way I was supposed to. And he said, Butch. I said, yes, chief. He said, you know I got to transfer you. I said, yes, sir. I know you do.
I had a couple of them phone calls myself. Like father, like son.
Yeah. I do. I understand. I said, where are you sending me? He says, well, I'm calling you. I want to ask you where you want to go. I said, you're kidding, right? No. Where do you want to go? I said, well, I'll just go in the dive team. He laughed then because the dive team was the other company that's in the same station. I wouldn't even have to move my locker.
Yeah.
Or my bed.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it made sense to me. He laughed. He said, okay, which shift? So then now I'm taken back.
Mm-hmm.
I said, which shift? I said, well, it's opening on B shift, Chief. I asked you what shift you want to be on. I said, the one I'm on. I work part-time with these guys, you know.
Yeah.
We're together all the time. He said, okay. Well, that was at 3:30. At 5 o'clock, the transfer list come out, and I got transferred. Well, the guy never did any work. He had made it known that he did not want to go to this specific place.
Oh.
Guess where he went?
Oh yeah. Mm.
So I spent the rest of my career on the dive team. That was 18 years in. I
When-
spent 40, so.
You went to the dive team after you were in 18 years when you went to the dive team?
Let's see, 16.
16 years. Is that when did the dive team had it just kind of getting off the ground, or is it?
It was just starting, and the way I got stuck on there was I was a paddler,
Yeah.
and I was good at paddling. I could run whitewater with a canoe, and they tried a couple other guys, and they couldn't pass the swimming test. And they told me they wanted me to be on it. I said, well, I can't pass the swimming test either. I'm a paddler. I don't swim unless I mess up. Then I don't have to swim far. I said, how far we got to swim? He said, 200 yards. I said, 200 yards? That's a long ways.
Man, it's a long way to doggy paddle.
And that's what I did.
Yeah.
Breaststroke, you know. So they said, oh, come on. So I did it. And I was the worst. We'd go take diving, and we took diving from rangers and SEALs and stuff, and these guys were awesome, and here I am. Not the worst one in the class, but I did survive it, so, you know, got pretty good.
So would you say your fondest memories of the fire service were?
Yeah, working with the guys on water rescue and being in a rescue company, going on every fire in the city. If there was anything that an extra company was needed, we went. If there was a code, and we were closest, we went. Extrications, unfortunately a lot of death. Dealt with a lot of death.
So that goes into the hardest times. What are some of those times that I know in this field there'll be a lot of military and police and fire that listen to this podcast, that have followed me and my openness with taking care of your mental health, and we talk about some of the hard times. What were some of those incidents that did stick out the most?
Well, I just had a flood of memories. Two probably stick out the most. One's a little sick because one of our old friends, Mike Miller, he had just come in the fire department.
Name dropping.
I shouldn't have done that again. He's just a good man, awesome man, good father as well. He was with us searching for a body down on the James River, and had been there for some time. And we found it, and the only tissue left was in the tennis shoes. We'd been searching for it for 30 days. And there was no head, no hands. So I took him with me. He said, I want to go with you. I want to help. I said, okay, come on. You can come with me. What are we doing? I said, we're looking for the head. And the look on his face was priceless. He said, we're doing what?
What do you mean? It's not attached to her shoulders?
I said, we got to find his head. If we can't find his hands, if we can find his hands, that won't do us no good because there's no fingerprints anymore. So we got to find his head so we can do dental records to prove who we found is who he is. So we searched. We did not find it. So the only way we made identification was clothing that was nearby.
Yeah.
The other one was a car accident on the bridge, and they called the dive team because the car was on the bridge. I'm on the way over there. I said, why are they calling us? The car's not in the water, it's on the bridge. But what happened was a very, very large, I think it was a furniture box truck, ran into the back of this sedan. It hit it so hard that it burst into flames and both vehicles are on fire. And we had to extricate the 3 people from the car. I don't guess it's going to be too gory, is it?
Try to baby it down some.
So we got there. We had to pry them out of the car. That was a memorable extrication. And bag them, but we had to take a couple breaks because it was a little bit gory. But we got it done.
So that leads into, you know, we talk about the mental health and how it's good to talk about the things that you've witnessed and seen, and you know, not hold it in. You know, talk about it's okay to cry and the power of a man's tears. We've already shed a few tears on this podcast, so
Yeah.
you know, with that being said, how did you guys, with a lot of the things that, you know, times have changed, there's probably way more resources available to people now. As far as mental health things go, it's not, we're trying to get rid of that stigma so much. It was probably much more of a stigma back then.
It was back then. You weren't very manly if you cried, of course. You weren't very manly if you wanted to talk about it. But probably about 2 or 3 years of being on that special team, we found out we were losing people. They couldn't handle it. So we brought on ourselves that whenever we had something, we got together, we sat down, and we talked about it. Tell me what bothered you about that. And you tell me what bothered you, and I'll tell you what bothered me. It don't make us any less than we are, but it'll make us better.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. And we could usually tell if we got a new man in. It didn't take but 1 month. So we got the chief to let us pick our own people, the ones we knew that had been in had seen things.
Yeah. Yeah, I witnessed you. You can kind of tell right out of the gate of, you know, the first couple calls on what types of things bother people, and that's what the important takeaway is, you know, like you say, is to be open and support one another. It's a tough job, but you know, it's got to be done. And if you can talk to one another openly about the things that bothered you, you're only getting stronger. You're only, you're growing through that pain. And I know some of the new guys, I would pull them aside, and just be straight up with them. Hey, that was a rough call. Like,
Yeah.
or did anything of that bother you? It's totally normal
Mm-hmm.
if that bothered you. I'd sometimes, if it didn't bother you, then I'm probably a little more worried about you than if it did. So
Yeah, absolutely.
then we probably should think of something else for you to do.
But you know how we would, a lot of times we'd make jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely the humor
We-
in the fire
We would
service
make jokes about it, and a lot of people, if they ever heard the things that we would say, they would be appalled.
Yeah, they never call for help. That's for sure. Oh, I'm not calling those guys for
Yeah.
help.
Be honest with you, those are the guys you want there, because they're not going to bail.
Right. What regrets do you have? Is there anything you haven't done in your life that up until this point that you wish you would have done, or?
No, I have no regrets. I wish I could have done some things better, maybe.
Yeah, that's not a regret.
Yeah, but I have no regrets. Some things sadden me,
Yeah.
but no regrets.
How about things that you wish you would have done that you hadn't?
Not too late.
Right, that's what I mean.
Not too late. Still want to go skydiving. I haven't done that yet.
So, yeah.
Not too late.
No, it's not.
And I got a friend that does it.
That's, yeah. Probably don't own.
Actually, I got several.
I know who you're talking about. You probably.
Yeah.
He might cut your cord on the way down.
He's going to pack my suit. I don't know. He's going to be the one packing my chute, so I'm not so
Right.
sure. I got to make sure I hadn't pissed him off today.
He'd be laughing at you the whole way down.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's a question, or something I like to think about a lot. Is if you were to die today, what you don't want to live with any. You don't want to have any regrets. You want to. Go ahead.
I don't have any emotional regrets about some things you like to do differently. That's not a regret.
Yeah.
That's looking back and learning from, and then changing, because we can always change. I'm 72. I can still change.
Yeah.
Your mom's giving up on me, I think, but
We're all a little hard-headed, I guess.
yeah.
To get it honest. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to. You hate to be on your deathbed, or you hate to be injured, or you think back, man, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done this. And there's not. I don't know if you ever hear anybody on their deathbed say, "I wish I would have spent more time at work," unless you did a job like that, maybe. But I wish I would have spent more time at the office or something like that. And that, typically it's I wish I would have spent more time with my family.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't want to regret. And that's what this podcast is about, is investing in yourself and investing in the right aspects of your life, your family, your faith, finances, all the cliche, all the F's, fitness. It might be cliche to some, but it really is the truth. Are there any questions that you think I should have asked you that I didn't ask?
I don't know. tried to be forthright with you, tell you what I thought about things. You're pretty calm and laid back till you hit 18, so, and I understood that part because I remember what happened to me at 18.
So what are the things that you held back that you wish you would have, or were there things that you didn't tell me ahead of time, like you knew, oh well.
Good cause you grief.
Yeah, but or did you think it was better for me to learn?
I thought, no, I thought it was, as long as it wasn't going to cause you tremendous financial problems or injury, or I do remember talking to you about finances once, but kind of waited for you to come to me.
Yeah.
But I made myself available.
Yeah,
so you could come to me.
Yeah, it's always been, I've always felt comfortable, and that's the biggest. You want to make your kids feel comfortable. You don't want to hover over top of them or micromanage them or tell them what to do. And I know vividly. I can't remember the exact times or events, but I remember saying to you a couple times, "Dad, you knew that was going to happen. Why didn't you tell me?" And you just grinned. So, but it was a bigger impact. I learned a little bit better that way.
It is easier to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's what your grandfather taught me.
Yeah. Well, he did it. So when this podcast is all about us wanting to leave a legacy, somebody worth emulating, somebody worth being. When you leave this world, how do you want to be remembered? What legacy do you hope to leave?
Well, I want people to think I was a good man, but I want them to think I was a Christian man who always tried to do the right thing, even when it's hard, even when you're going to suffer for it. Try to do the right thing. Because there's been times that I've known the right thing to do. Either couldn't do it or didn't do it. And there were times that I just did the best I could. So I guess be remembered as a good husband, good father, and a person that helped people.
Well, you definitely lived up to that already. I truly appreciate the man you are, and father you've been, dad, and the time you spent with me. You've definitely lived up to what you wanted to do. You have you have succeeded. Which leads, you've made a huge impact on my life. You've made an impact on so many other lives. Landon loves his pawpaw. Loves his meemaw too, but you're on the podcast, so we'll have to have Mom on too. So I'm just this has been a great conversation. It's gone exactly how I figured it would. Pretty much sounds like a lot of the conversations we had together on a daily basis anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I'm very fortunate, humbled.
You've taught me things as well. I think you've handled things very well. You've had some hard times. I've always been proud of how you handled it. And I like where you're going now. And I know you'll do well.
Thank you. You've always made me feel that way. So, thanks for being my first guest. Try not to cry anymore. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm sure you got plenty of value from my dad's words, as I've always had my entire life. So, love you.
Love you.
All right, guys. That's it. On to the next one. Whew. That was good.
You think so?
So stop this record over here. Get out of the way. Legs probably asleep.
No.
See if this
Oh,
thing.
jump on it.